doing a really cool webinar today on how we're leveraging AI to streamline the hiring process. And for those of you who know me, I've spent literally my entire life thinking about how to optimize the hiring process and the importance of hiring and what that does to organizations. When you get the right people on the team, it just propels business success and the satisfaction that we all get from work, right? When you're on a winning team, everybody involved is getting satisfaction from that, right? Winning teams have great cultures, they have great environments, and we all show up to work every day. We spend often more time at work than we do with our own friends and family. And so when we're on winning teams and we have organizations, stacked with amazing people, it's just a great feeling for the people on the team, and obviously driving and helping businesses achieve their missions, right? And when we're achieving our missions or moving rapidly towards achieving those, it's just a great overall success for everyone. So one of the big challenges we really face in hiring, right, is just getting started or doing all the 40 different things that you really have to do to get hiring right. And that's where I had the shower thought. I mean, not that many of us haven't. If you haven't been exposed to AI at this point, you probably, no offense, but living under a rock. But the shower thought was, well, how do we apply AI to a proven hiring system that we know produces consistent quality hiring results, right? And before AI, there is literally 40 different little things that you really should strive to get right in order to win at hiring. And that's a big task. So I don't care if you're a professional talent acquisition expert or an HR person, or who we serve primarily as small and mid-sized business owners. It's a lot to ask to get all of these different tasks or components of the hiring process down just right. So that's what we began to explore. We took our fact-driven hiring system and we began to apply AI to that process to streamline how we execute it from start to finish. And so that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. So as everybody is tuning in here, my name is Fletcher Wimbush. I'm the owner of the Hired Talent. Last year, we released our latest talent acquisition product, Discovered. It's a performance hiring software platform. So it's an end-to-end platform, helps people recruit and market. So market their opportunities to source talent, to find great people. But it marries our best practice talent assessments. So that's a behavioral aptitude, attitude, integrity, competency, skill-based testing, as well as awesome tools also used in the talent assessment process, which I'm going to show you some cool things that we did today, that we did just recently with one-way video interviews, automated reference checks, interview guides, candidate scorecards, all the different things that you need to do in the talent evaluation process. And that ideally you need to do well in order to get that ideal outcome, which is hiring an A player, right? Somebody who's going to solve problems in your business, right? And, I was talking to a guy, we did a LinkedIn Live last week with Adam Meekinoff from Talent IQ Partners. And I love the way he framed this, right? We don't, when we're hiring somebody, we're hiring them to solve a problem, right? And when somebody's looking for a job, they're looking to solve a problem for themselves. They're looking for employment. They're looking for to improve the quality of their life. So when we get hiring right, we're solving problems for our customers. We're driving the mission and the vision of our organizations forward. And we're solving problems for the people that join our teams. We're helping them elevate and enhance their own quality of life, right? So let's jump into this a little bit. as I was prefacing here, everything we do when we're consulting with clients, so as much as we're providing people technology to make hiring easier, I always kind of think of this as we're like, I love the HubSpot model, right? HubSpot is a powerful tool. It can do a lot for you in marketing, or maybe Salesforce. Take either one of these examples. I think many of you are probably familiar with one of these tools. They are super, super powerful tools, but without having the knowledge, the understanding of how to leverage the tools or execute a sales process or a marketing system, without having that fundamental expertise, using those tools becomes very, very difficult. Now, what I like HubSpot has done versus, say, Salesforce, for example, is HubSpot has just a massive learning environment, right? They do something that we embody, one of our core values, which is educate first. So we spend a lot of time consulting. So we bring humans, powerful software technology, and now AI, and we bring them together to help people win at hiring. And that human consulting, that best practices, that educate first component is really crucial, because I can give you the most powerful tool in the world, which, by the way, with AI soon, we're going to get so much closer to literally automating the entire hiring process. I'm going to show you an example how we did completely 100% automate a hiring process. It was absolutely blown away what we were able to do here. But I'm going to show you that later in this webinar. But we're really getting a lot closer to doing that for just about any kind of role that you might want to hire for. And we're doing that following a fact-driven hiring system. So we're hiring using facts and evidence, not guts and winging it, like many of us tend to do. And so I'll briefly cover the fact-driven hiring system, so you kind of understand the concept here a little bit. But hiring always starts with the foundational step, right? So that really requires, and I don't even have this on this list because nobody does it, but it really requires a really detailed job analysis. Like, understand, what problem this job solves for the customer, or could be an internal customer, an external customer, and in great detail, understand how they solve that problem. And that then becomes transformed into what we formally think of as a job description. Job descriptions, by the way, should be based on OKRs, objectives and key results, and then the KPIs that drive those OKRs, right? And that's a common mistake folks make, but with AI, we're helping people do that a lot better and faster. And then that turns into your ideal candidate, and your ideal candidate then turns into your ideal candidate scorecard. So that's how we're going to evaluate candidates in the process. And then ultimately we have to nail, so that's kind of the fundamentals. So that's kind of our beacon, our lighthouse. That's the thing that shows us, okay, here is the problem we're solving. This is how we're solving it. And this is who is most likely to be successful in solving that problem, our ideal candidate, and how we're going to measure and determine whether they're going to be successful in that role. And then we have to start, as a foundational step, start thinking about our attracting candidates. And so when we're talking about attracting candidates, we're beginning to employ recruitment marketing best practices. And those begin with nailing your employer value proposition. And so some of the cool things that we're doing, or we at least recommend, you can do this yourself with an iPhone in many cases, or your WordPress guy, but we just are automating a lot of this for clients these days. But getting employee testimonials, getting the CEOs, getting the executives, getting these folks to actually share their why and the mission and the vision of the organization, right? And then we need a way to display and show that. So in the marketing and sales speak, we're talking about landing pages. Well, in the hiring world, we're talking about career pages. So your career page should be a landing page, not just a boring list of jobs, ideally, right? And so we do that in a couple of different ways. But one, we just create career pages for folks. We help them create career pages that look just like their website, and they can connect to them, which allows them to be seen by Google Jobs and seen by Indeed and connected to all the different job boards, or folks who are just navigating to their website. It allows you to share jobs as we start to get into things like employee referrals and other types of recruitment marketing to do that easily. And then we also offer folks a widget for those that want to take this to the next level, which we encourage all our customers to do so. So to create, and we usually partner with their marketing teams to create really robust career pages or career sites, microsites within their website. And then we're fueling that by pushing the jobs there and making that easy to get those delivered. So you're not having to call a web developer every time you want to post a job or go through a really arduous process in the back end of your WordPress site or something. You know, we push those out basically instantly. All of that culminates into a job advertisement. This becomes the marketing message. It's not a job description. This is the marketing piece, the cornerstone marketing piece that influences our social media posts or our direct messaging when we're doing cold outreach to candidates, to the ads that go on all the job boards or that can be found by Google, wherever we're going to be marketing our jobs. This is the pillar content that we derive our messaging from and that we're sharing with candidates to get them excited, to get them interested in our opportunities. And then we begin to set up social media campaigns, employee referral programs. We'll talk more about but that is really, really important. And networking hour, this is when we're doing direct cold outreach to candidates. So how do we then begin attracting candidates, right? So attracting candidates is the second phase of the fact-driven hiring process. So again, we're push out to all the job boards. That's kind of your marketing piece. That's your low-hanging fruit. That helps you find folks that are actively looking for jobs like yours. Now, if we have to take advanced techniques in there, then we get to these niche industries and niche industry job boards, or we begin to use databases like ZoomInfo or Seamless or Apollo or all these different tools that we can use to literally database our entire pool of talent. And this is very helpful when you have a small pool or a very specified, but maybe relatively small pool of talent. So take any sort of professional services. So if you're a civil engineer, for example, well, in civil engineer in Green Bay, Wisconsin, right? There are only like 100, maybe 150 licensed civil engineers in that entire market. So we're going to create those, we're going to, capture those contacts. We're going to figure out who those people are. We're going to use these tools to figure out how to get in contact with them. And then we're going to begin to do cold outreach. Remember, we created all our employer value proposition, our advertising, and our messaging. So we're just plugging that messaging right into this cold outreach to deliver those messages. LinkedIn is just a fantastic place to build your network, especially in those small markets. So we always suggest that. Then we get into the candidate evaluation phase, right? That's, you can swap these words however you want. Recruiter, it could be your admin, it could be hiring manager, but there's some sort of initial engagement, and that's initial presentation of the opportunity, discovery of the candidate's motivations, the initial understanding of the candidate, their skills and experience. And then we begin to move into the assessment phase. And so these are typically the types of qualities, attributes, skills, abilities that we want to assess candidates for. So now we're going to assess those candidates through interviews, through assessment tests of different types, reference checking, and we're going to use scorecards to objectively use facts, not guts, feelings, to evaluate these people in this process. And so that is the assessment phase, made up of a whole bunch of different techniques and tools to do that effectively. And then we like to move into some sort of in-depth interview, which we like to use a method called career history interview. And then we begin with the hiring manager, So you got recruitment engagement, you got hiring manager engagement, and then you got assessments, and then career history is an assessment mechanism. References, and again, there's a couple different ways to do that. We actually automate reference checking for clients, but you can definitely do those manually, and there's some really great best practices in there how you do that. And then lastly, again, there's a lot of different words for this. There's every different role is going to have slightly different approach to this, but I call them working interviews. It could be a job shadow, it could be a meet and greet, but typically it's like a half to a full day. Maybe very senior roles, it's multiple days, but it's usually giving up the person opportunity to complete one of the key tasks, to do some of the key tasks that are related to the job, or shadow or watch or observe, to meet other people within the organization. to get some of those other interviews that you might get done. And then usually there's a social component, like take them out to lunch. This is just where we get to bond and make sure that this is somebody that we want to spend 40 or 50 hours a week with, and so that they can decide whether they want to do these tasks, whether they want to be in part of this organization, whether they like the culture of the organization. So this is a two-way street task, but nothing's worse than having a candidate show up on day one and then them instantly regretting their decision. That hurts the employer just as much as it hurts the candidate. And then we get into offer stage here. And so that's where we begin to get into the training and onboarding, the last piece of the factor-driven hiring process. And there's a bunch of components here. And this is an overwhelming amount of tasks and content and material that you need to create in order to do this effectively. So we are really streamlining this with AI these days. And so we can really go from 0 to nearly perfect completion of all these different tasks. But you got all these pre-hire onboarding tasks we can create once they're onboarded. We need to have a plan for how and what tasks and how we're going to onboard this person really over the first 90 days, and that's every week. What are the milestones? And then performance management, and those performance management milestones over short periods of time and long periods of time. So the problem here is this is an overwhelming number of tasks that you have to complete, and things that you need to think through or that you have to get done. And I don't care if you're an HR or if you're a recruiter or you're, like I said, our kind of our ideal customers are typically small and mid-sized business owners, maybe don't have professional HR and recruiter staff. They have somebody else delegated to this, like office manager, who's not an expert necessarily, and they're sort of figuring it out as they go. This is where AI and the human coaches and Discover really help accelerate this process in completing these tasks and doing them really, really well. I always like to use the analogy, AI is the smartest intern you're ever going to hire. And I can say this from experience. I've hired many interns in my career, even some from really prestigious schools like Princeton. If I ask them to complete any one of these tasks, even with a moderate degree or even quite a bit of instruction, usually what you get back in return from an intern is a task that is maybe 50, maybe 75% complete. AI gets it like 90 to 98% right almost every single time. When you know what you're doing, right? When you know what kind of prompts, what kind of questions, what kind of additional data and content to feed it. So when you combine a human expert with AI, boom, things just move lightning fast, right? In terms of being able to execute this hiring process. And why is that important? It's super important to fill your roles fast and to get them done, to get them with the right person, right? So let me see. I've written prolifically on this, but I just asked ChatGPT, right? What are the costs of unfilled positions? So, right, and so there's a cost of leaving the role unfilled, and then there's a cost of getting the wrong person. And getting the wrong person costs a lot more than leaving it unfilled in many cases because it's so disruptive, right? It takes so much energy to recover from that, and you put a lot of time and energy into training and getting them up to speed and they're not producing. So they're not producing or not producing very well, and they're disruptive and they're distracting other people from producing. And it's just a big mess, right? Now, when it's unfilled, we're not generating revenue, right? The problem for our customers is not being solved, right? So if I'm making, I love the analogy of, some sort of widget, right? If I'm making a widget and I sell those widgets for $1,000 and I hire somebody to make these widgets for me and they make 10 widgets a day, they're generating $10,000 worth of revenue for me every single day, right? Every day that role is not filled, that's $10,000 worth of stuff I am not producing that I cannot sell, right? So that's a huge, huge cost for the business. So I just went through, there all of the things here, right? Overtime costs, which lead to burnout, right? And you can pick the roles, and they just went through a plethora of examples, right? Impact on employee morale. That's where we start getting into getting the wrong person or a wrong leader in place, or Again, the burnout factor, and there's just huge opportunity costs. I don't care if you're hiring an admin, which this did a really good job of pointing out. Even admin have a cost not having those filled, right? Somebody else is taking on those tasks, or maybe some tasks aren't getting done. Maybe you're not doing collections as fast as you should, so it's hurting your cash flow. Or maybe certain reports are getting updated fast enough or in live real time. So those are all things that, that maybe business intelligence that I need is not, I'm not getting it fast enough, and I'm now slow to make decisions. And all of that's hurting my opportunity cost, right? There's a huge opportunity cost. And maybe one of the bigger ones, and this is the one I probably fear the most, but is client satisfaction, right? So if I'm understaffed and I'm at a restaurant, and everybody's seen this before, and I go to that restaurant, and I have a couple of restaurants we go to like maybe once to 3 times a month, right? And we spend $100 as a family every single time we go there. So if I go there 2 times a month for a year, that's $2,400 in revenue. If the service got so bad that I couldn't tolerate, like the food quality went down, and the service wasn't there, and it was slow, and they were mean, or was just overwhelmed, and they couldn't service me, and I stopped going to that establishment, they just lost $2,400 of guaranteed revenue. Now, if you're in some other businesses, that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? You lose a big contract that's worth $100 grand, that every year that customer is renewing for $100,000, and you're unable to deliver for that customer this year because you have unfilled positions, or you put the wrong person in the role. And the rest of your team's overwhelmed and just unable to support the service that you're providing for them. That is $100,000 in what normally would have been guaranteed revenue lost. Okay, so the 2 big problems here that we're trying to solve with this discovered platform, performance hiring software, and AI and human expert coaches is, one is the speed in which we can get to market, find and attract and assess and hire our ideal candidate. And the other one is getting it right, because getting it wrong causes so much disruption and is such a costly mistake for organizations, right? So how do we do that, right? Why is AI, pretty amazing in this sense, right? And let's see, I did this. I can do this with any role, but I like to show people like really complicated ones. So I have a friend, they're healthcare economists. So they service drug and medical device manufacturers, and they're helping these manufacturers get their products to market and scale so that they can deliver these products at a cost-effective rate so that anybody can buy them, anybody can get them who needs them. So think about, I don't know, diabetes treatments, or some common types of, things where we need really great treatments to help people with these, to save their lives, extend their lives, things like that. And this requires this just like huge amount of data analysis and economic analysis. They're hiring PhDs, right? So super complicated. So where we begin, right, in the factor-driven hiring system is, let's say, with a job description. And so, and I did all of this, and it's all regenerated here, but for us, I did all this in about 30 minutes, but basically I gave it a simple prompt here. And so here was essentially the prompt that I give it. This is it, right? Here's my prompt. And I stopped here. And all I did was, I stopped kind of here, right? And all I did was just copy and paste content from the website. We already have all this content here. You can also copy from your mission, vision, any other business documents that explain the role, whatever you've got. You can even go to ONET, it's a great resource for this. But anyways, you can pull up the data. It's already existing, super easy to do, takes a few seconds to do. And I just copied and pasted it, totally unstructured. This is messy. And boom, it just comes out with one of the most detailed, performance-driven job descriptions, right? It's got my OKRs in here. Now all I got to do is fill in some of the metrics here, but it gave me the framework. And if I had the metrics, you've already done this exercise, we could plug all that in here and it would just, boom, it would do it for you, right? So we're talking about hiring PhDs here, and we created a really detailed job description, and we didn't have to write any of this ourselves, just repurposed existing content to do this. So now we have a powerful job description. So when we're out there recruiting, I actually added something that the client gave me. So I just had them redo it, and it really, came back almost identical. It was really very similar there, but so really, really powerful job description. And then now we get to the marketing piece. And this is where what we're doing with AI, and we've got like 20 different AI tools coming out inside of Discovered here. I got all my little tabs open here. Well, I can go back to this one. But what we're doing here is we're literally just built right in, right? It's pulling all this content, it's doing everything we just talked about inside of ChatGPT by pressing a button, and it's producing a result like this, where we have now a very powerful job advertisement. It's not a boring job description, so please do not post your boring job descriptions on job boards or use them to market your jobs. You can use them later in the process to help candidates better understand what the role is all about. But this will do the same thing. It's going to tell them what the job's about, but it's going to do it in a way that hopefully inspires them to be interested in the role, and it's going to gravitate to people who are interested in your core values, who are interested in your company's vision. And so, one of the things that really, got me about a role like this, let's see. Okay, so I actually gave it a little more information. So I went through a few iterative processes here, but is really talking about the effect, the outcome of what this job does. Because on its surface, it could be a very boring job. It's like, how do you connect being a healthcare economist to doing something good for the world, right? So, and that the key here is we want to improve. If you're in this business, your goal is to improve the lives of patients all over the world, right? And so it's about advocating for patients, promoting equity in healthcare, and we're on a mission to transform. So that's a mission, that's a value proposition that if I'm passionate about people and I'm educated in this space, that I can get behind, and I'm going to be inspired to reach out and say, hey, I want to know more about this opportunity, right? And then we're giving them the really high level, the most important nuts and bolts about the opportunity and why they should be interested in it. So we're really doing that. And then we're telling them where to apply. And then this is the career page that we created for the client. And so we shut that down, but that was the demo there, but we ended up, I think, doing something different with that. But I can show you an example of kind of a good career page that's created here. But we created a career page for them. A lot of them were actually including videos in this example, but this is, it's their website. It's all tied right on in there. So super simple, but this is where the person can apply, right? Now we need a way to evaluate these people in the process, right? So we dealt with the foundational stuff, job description, OKRs, KPIs. We dealt with getting our marketing message together, and now we need a way to evaluate this candidate. So then I asked to complete them to create a candidate scorecard. I threw in their core values. I kind of got a lot of this information in bits and drabs and pieces, but when I get it all at the same time, I can kind of include it from the very beginning, and boom. Here is the candidate scorecard. So now I have a North Star. When I go to evaluate a candidate, these are the things that I'm looking to evaluate the candidate on. If you're small or even, but this is very helpful in larger organizations. So if I'm an HR or I'm an executive, I'm CEO, and I want to make sure our hiring results are consistent, you require your hiring managers, talent acquisition people to complete these scorecards. It forces them to evaluate people on the right things and not use their gut, their human bias to make those decisions. It's a great tool for removing bias from your hiring process. And then, again, we need more help here. So if I asked you to create 2 interview questions to help me evaluate somebody on all these things, forget it. I mean, you might do a Google search, you might find some questions, you're going to hunt and peck and try to figure it out. But with AI, we instantly create those interview questions, right? And if they're interview questions, I can ask it for as many as I want, right? But I like to just do 2 per, just get it started so I'm not overwhelmed. But these give me 2 fantastic interview questions to help me hone in and to dig deeper into these scorecard qualities that I know I need to focus on and that are going to be driving success, going to be helping us achieve those OKRs and those KPIs in the role, right? So boom, all that's in here. Then I don't know, maybe have another example in here, but I might have an example of this, but we then throw all of that right into, no, don't have an example there, but into our interview mode in many cases. So I don't have a handy example there, but there's a whole interview mode that just puts your scorecard right up on the screen, your interview guide, everything that you need is all kind of in one place there. So that you're in one screen, you're looking at the interview questions, you're looking at the scorecard, you're looking at the resume, you're looking at assessment test results, you're looking at video interviews, you're looking at references, you're looking at all in one screen so that you're able to add your notes, compile all the information, and when you're done, your scorecard's filled out, right? And so now you have an objective evaluation of the candidate, and you can make a swift hiring decision. So that's the other big problem I often see with folks when they're hiring, right? They go through a few rounds of interviewing with a candidate and they become very undecisive. They're like, I don't know, I'm not sure, I'm concerned about this, I'm concerned about that. Candidate scorecards, if done correctly, should eliminate any uncertainty, right? You've objectively evaluated the person on all these qualities, and the scorecard is going to say yes or no to make the hiring decision. So there's no wondering. And if it's a no, it helps with candidate ghosting. Do not ghost your candidates. Now you can say definitively no, and maybe even give them reasons why, and you can respond back to the candidate. If it's a yes, you can swiftly say yes, make the offers, get the start date going here, right? So the other thing we do here, and this is we'll get into here now, is when we did this for a CPA firm, and what we did is we were hiring offshore. We were doing hiring for tax and accounting professionals in India. We got 650 applicants in 10 days or 18 days for the role. We literally just posted the job. So it was like 3 clicks. The job was posted, it was pushed out, it was marketed. 650 people applied to the job. When they applied to the job, we asked them to complete a number of tasks. Because the number of applicants were overwhelming, we asked them to complete a one-way video interview. It took them 30 minutes to complete. We asked them 13 questions to explain who they are, their work history, their skills, their significant achievements, all sorts of questions so that we could understand immediately whether this person was highly likely. We got their resume. We had them complete a QuickBooks and accounting test. We had them complete a small business tax test. So we tap US tax. These are folks in India. We're assessing them on their US tax law experience. These were custom tests that we created. So here's an example. We created a custom test using AI. The director of accounting reviewed these and he made one change. We published the test and we delivered the test to the candidates. This is what the candidates saw, right? Here are the different tests that we asked them to complete. They just select the test, they completed the test. We get a high-level overview. We get the details as well. We'll show you that. I'll show you that in a sec. And now we have a simple way of evaluating these candidates. And then we have this link that we shared with the hiring manager. So all the hiring manager has to do now is review the resume, the test reports, which here's an example. Here's details about how the person scored, their overall score, how long they took, how they answered the questions. So they can review the assessments. Then they can review the one-way video interview. Oh, here's interview mode. I was promising you earlier. Let's see if I can't open that yet. Oh, so then in interview mode, they can review how the person answered each of the questions individually. They can watch everything all at once. Here's all the questions that we asked them. They answered all the questions, right? They can leave notes. They can tag other people on their team. Here are the scorecard qualities. Everybody on the team's ratings, consolidated ratings, overalls, the different notes, scorings on the candidates here. And we just did this, we just delivered this to the candidate here. I can look at the resume, I can see that in full screen. So I can do everything I need to evaluate this candidate here in kind of this easy user interface. And then we actually also collected the candidate's references. So candidate, without us lifting a finger, we literally 3 clicks, we post the job, 650 candidates come in, we auto responded to them saying, hey, complete these tasks, 30-minute video interview, about 45 minutes of assessment testing, and provide references from their previous direct supervisors. Here is the candidate's references from past direct supervisors. This is everything that you need to do in the hiring process. Then the last step, all we need to do now is invite that candidate to a first interview. So by using a template built right in, we're going to do an interview invitation. We can send that to them via text or email. And we provided the scheduling link. So it syncs up with the client's calendar and the times that they're available, and any times that they're blocked, it's all blocked. You don't need a Calendly, or you can book me or any other tool. It's all built ready, or they could use their own. But we send this note to the candidate, reminding them about the role, nicely worded note, all templated. We didn't lift a finger. Nobody has done any action literally other than review the candidate now and simply send this invitation to the candidate either via text or email. And we can invite them to a Zoom interview, a phone interview, or even in-person interview. I did this with a concrete delivery company. And, you know, when you're dealing with those types of folks, first of all, everything via text message. Second, we do everything in person. So we did this process. We assessed the candidates. So we posted jobs. We had the candidates assessed. We checked their references. And then we invited them in on a Monday to come in, and we invited 15 people in on a Monday. We had them all different time slot. They all came in, they did an interview. We had 5 people hired in under a week for a job that most people can't barely fill. Say, like, before the client engaged with us, they had 10 applicants in January, they had 10 applicants in February, 20 applicants in March, they had 300 qualified applicants in April, and they had 5 hires made in under 30 days. They had come nowhere close, and these were well-vetted candidates, right? And they barely lifted a finger. All they had to do was show up for that final interview because they had all the precursory information. So if you're doing volume hiring, or if you're an offshore recruiter or nearshore recruiter, this is like a game-changing tool. Or if you're a small business owner and you just don't have time to process all these candidates that you're going to get, look at every resume, give them all a star ranking, like, you don't have time for that, you don't need to. It's all automated, right? You can automate as much of it. You can make it as personal as you want. I mean, you don't. So this is an extreme example of what we did, how we processed 650 applicants. And we got that down. Where's my list of folks here somewhere? But and how we got that down to like, oh, here it is, my list here. How we got that down to like 13 applicants, right? So we went from 650 to 13 highly vetted applicants, and the client will be making some hiring decisions very, very soon here. So really, really remarkable thing here. Okay, now we made some hires. Now, right? Now we need to start our onboarding process. So this is the test I made for the PhD healthcare economist. Remarkable. The client made virtually no changes to this. it's just out of control how good this was. I've done this for blockchain developers. I've done this for so many different roles. It's fun. Oh, and I forgot to talk about this. This is awesome, but we created social posts. So now we're promoting the job via all these different social media channels. Again, if I had to sit down from scratch and write all this, like, I'm not a big social guy. I'm 41. Like, which hashtags do I use? I mean, like, just did it all for me, emojis and everything, right? And what we did is we took our one-way video or video or employee testimonial, and you paired these posts with those testimonial videos. So they're very dynamic content. Boom, posted, easy to share, right? Then we had it create 4 emails to promote the job. So the biggest mistake people make in employee referral programs is they talk about it once. They stand up in front of the team and they say, hey, we're hiring for a new marketing director. Anybody know anybody who might be a good fit for this role? Send them my way. And that's the end of the conversation. If you want an employee referral program, which employee referral programs are the #1 source of the highest quality, best volume of applicants, it's all about consistency. You got to talk about it all the time. You got to make it part of your culture. Well, that's hard. You got to create content. You got to create material. You got to remind everybody. You got to make it part of your routine. Well, if you have the content created, it's super easy, right? So I got 4 messages and 10 social media posts. I can really engage my workforce in promoting these opportunities on a regular basis with minimal amount of effort, right? So every week I can send an email out, and this email they can simply just forward to people in their world. And in a situation like this, where I'm hiring a healthcare policy analyst, it's a small world. Employee referrals and social media is really, really important for that, because the people in your company, they went to school with these people. They went to the training and certifications. They went through internships with these people. They worked at other companies with this expertise. So they know they have an inside track to the talent that you're looking for in cases like this, right? And so they're going to, when I send this out, they're going to say, oh yeah, I remember Jane. She was amazing. She was so smart, and she was like the best economist I ever worked with. Let me reach out to her. Let me send this email to her. Let me share this social post with her, right? But I made it easy for them. If I'm an employee in a company, I got to write this message and send it to my friend. Like, no way. I got a million other things I got to do. But now I made it easy for my people on my team to send this out, right? Okay. So that was kind of another cool thing that we're doing here. And all of these tools and everything we're doing here is quickly being integrated right into the Discover platform. So literally all you're going to do is tell me, hey, the name of my company is X. I'm hiring for Y. And boom, you're going to have all of this is just going to be done for you. Right now, our expert hiring coaches are doing this for our clients. Our clients come to our coaches, say, hey, I'm hiring for a project manager for my residential construction company. Here's my website. And our coaches are creating all of this for them in a few minutes and getting it all set up within their platform, and they're off and running. So again, like this example, what we did for the client here who's hiring the offshore accountants, it took us about 10 minutes to get that going, and 650 applicants, and resulting in 13 extraordinarily well vetted folks. Okay. So now you get to the hire. You got to come up with a training onboarding plan. One of the #1 reasons why people fail in jobs is we go all this effort to find the person, and then we forget and neglect to engage and get these people onboarded correct. And that could be in the early days of like they show up on the first day of work and they don't have a phone and a computer and passwords or access to their tools, and you spend like 3 days setting all that up. Don't do that to people. Get it all set up ahead of time. So you can ask for a checklist. And then, yeah, just orientation, right? Like, here's now a checklist of tasks. So I can, as a hiring manager or as the supervisor of this new hire, I have a playbook here, and I can just start checking off the tasks. And here's my job-specific training. And here's my role training, shadowing. And even like remind me to do a debrief with them, right? And then how to do some feedback and to do continuous learning to set up all these. So, and I can also then just go in here and say, also create a performance management scorecard for this person. So I have a formal scorecard for actually evaluating their performance on a regular basis. For most of our clients, it's kind of SMB stuff. We're providing a free performance management tool that just allows us to, if I don't want to have a super complicated performance evaluation, we just do a very simple core value match and effectiveness chart, right? So people up here, they're great core value matches. They're highly effective at their job. Over here, great core value matches, not as effective as we like. People over here, pretty effective, but maybe problematic, not core value match, not a culture match. People here, we just need to run from, right? But people in these boxes, we want to have a performance improvement plan that move them from here to over here, right? So keep it super simple to do that, and we can visualize how everybody stacks up. And so this is great for workforce planning. You can literally, evaluate your entire team of 10 people in like 10 minutes. It's pretty remarkable, right? So let's see, so we get right in there, and you've got, select your reviews, reminders. So this is the super simple way of doing it. You can set goals for the people. So and have all those reminders and comments, and just a record of this. Scaling up business coaches recommend you do this every week with every candidate. And it's pretty remarkable there. So we took you from end to end using AI to execute a fact-driven hiring system, integrated that into Discovered Hiring platform that helps you automate recruitment, marketing, and talent assessment. And we did like 20 different things leveraging AI to make hiring easier and tremendously more effective. Also, if anybody's interested in learning more, I'll drop my link in here. Happy to do a one-on-one session there. We can schedule a call, or if you're ready to go, you can get set up and you can register for a free account. So the best of all this is, for companies under 50 employees, it's only $300 a month. It doesn't get any cheaper than that. And for larger companies, it goes up nominally. It's not like it goes up double when you're a 100-person company. So the costs are very, very low here. You can check it out. You can check out Discovered further here. I'll find the page. You can check it out. You can inquire if you're interested in learning more. Check out Discovered. Book a call one-on-one, and we'll accelerate your hiring process to almost virtually automate the entire thing if you'd like. No matter how difficult your hiring situation, whether you're hiring a PhD healthcare economist, accountant in Mumbai, or a commercial truck driver or barista, I don't care what the role is, we have playbooks to make that process a million times easier, if not completely automated. I've been doing this my entire life, guys. I am personally just blown away. I am shocked, like where this technology has taken us. And I'm just so excited to share this with the world. So any questions, challenges, throw a curveball at me. I've solved hard hiring problems. I don't care how hard your problem is, bring it to me. I will help you fix it, solve it, make it easier, help you find the talent that you're looking for. I've done this literally 15,000 times. So there's virtually no curveball you could throw at me that we can't architect a smart solution for, right? Our contact information will be in the follow-up emails. We appreciate your time today, and thank you very much.